affordability is the number one reason why you should consider moving to the Midwest. I mean, there's several other reasons, and I just got done watching a video about climate change and people moving simply because of the climate with all the fires in California. There's climate movers, there's affordability, there's the cost of living, there's people looking for family life, there's people looking for better schools or a slower pace of life. All of these are reasons why people consider moving or looking into the Midwest. But in my opinion, the number one reason and the biggest of all is affordability for housing. And over the course of this video, we're going to be breaking down because I want you to see the numbers. It's different when somebody just comes out and says, hey, it's affordable. But when you actually see the numbers compared to where you currently are living, you are going to be blown away by the drastic difference of affordability here in the Midwest. So we're going to be going over that over the course of this video, and by the end, I'm going to give you some options of where you could consider taking a look at in the Midwest. In addition, if you're even considering or thinking about making a move and you're thinking of Omaha, Nebraska, where I am located, feel free and don't hesitate to reach out. We have people from all over the country and world that are always reaching out, and I absolutely love it, guys. And I just want to be a resource for you. Answer your questions. The questions that you don't get answered on videos, I want to be able to answer those. So feel free to reach out, and I'll link a bunch of other videos here about Omaha and the cost of living and everything like that. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into the video here. Here, I want to show you something. This right here, guys, is the breakdown on what the Midwest is. We have Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Ohio, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Wisconsin. This is the makeup of the Midwest. And so when we are comparing the West to the South, to the Northeast, figure out where you're located currently, and that's where you're going to see these numbers, and you'll be able to compare them to what it is in the Midwest. But the conversation has to go about home ownership rates. We're not going to break it down to the small nitty-gritty of a city or a town or the economy of a local area. We need to see the big picture, the macro picture of the United States. And so that brings us to here. The actual rate, home ownership rate, is actually 65% right here. 65% of people in the United States are homeowners. And this is a very interesting graph because we see between the recession in 99 and 2008, we saw home ownership at the highest rate. Why did we see that? We saw that because honestly, lending institutions were so laxed on what they were giving homeowners that we hit 2008 and we crashed, and the tightening of the regulations for lending tightened quite a bit. And you see home ownership and the affordability of home ownership rates drop all the way to roughly about 2016. And it was in 2016 that we started seeing an increase. Why did we see this increase? Well, 2016 was an election year, and typically when there's a Republican in office, we typically see the economy start doing really well. This isn't a set thing, but as far as Trump goes, he was very pro-United States, and the economy took off, and we saw income start to rise. Personal incomes begin to rise. Now, with personal incomes rising, what happens? Well, affordability actually tightens. The cost of homes begin to go up, and that's what we began to see over the course of the next few years. I'll throw a graph right here that actually shows the appreciation rate. We saw appreciation for homes begin to increase even more in 2016, 17, 18, and significantly in 20 and 21. And that was because affordability also became possible. Incomes began to rise. Well, let's take a look here and let's break down the different areas because that's really what I want to show you. So let's take a look right here. This is the home ownership rates for different regions. Here's the Midwest. The Midwest had a homeownership rate of over 70% in 21, over 70, just under 70 in the first quarter of 2020, but it became the most affordable, more homeowners in 2021 compared to the Northeast. The highest was 63%. In the South, we have 67, and in the West, which is the least affordable, it was between 59 and 60%. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is why? Why was the Midwest, or why is the Midwest have the highest homeownership rates? Is it because of affordability? What is the cost compared to different areas? Well, I wanted to break that down, and so I grabbed a graph here where I was actually able to see the different areas. Here are the regional breakdowns. If you look at the median price in the Northeast, it was $384,000. That was 6.3% up from just a year ago. In the Midwest, we have the $256,000, and it increased 10% since 2020, in December 2020. And then we had the median price in the South at $323,000, but this is crazy. It increased 20% from just a year ago. What does this tell us, guys? This tells us that there's a lot of people moving to Texas. There's a lot of people, and the cost of housing is going up at a faster rate than the Midwest. I get it. I mean, when we look at this graph right here, guys, I get it. Who wants to live here? Who wants to live where it's cold? Well, I can tell you right now, I'm in Nebraska. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, and it's February 7th, and it was 56 degrees outside, and it was nice. In December, we had 60-degree days. I'm blown away, actually, myself being a native of Nebraska, on how warm it's been in the winter months. So it's actually not as bad as you think. But being in the Midwest, there's fewer people that really want to go here. They're like, oh, let's go to Texas, let's go to Florida. Those are, warm climates. But we see the cost of these areas going up significantly faster than other parts of the country. Then let's look at the West. If you're in the West, guys, you are in the most expensive region in the United States, over $500,000 and up 8.4% from just December of 2020. Let's take a look at another graph here. This is existing home sales by region. What I really want to show you is the number of people that are actually making this move. When you see an increase in the number of home sales in a particular area, that's typically because there's more people buying in that area. Now in the Northeast, we only had 12% existing home sales by that region. We had 20% in the West, 24, the second highest, and in the South, 44%. That is gigantic. And again, it's because of this great American migration from the East and West Coast moving centrally, whether it's to the South or the Midwest. We're seeing a huge influx. And I'm having many of those conversations with people all over the country looking to consider Omaha, Nebraska as a place that they can live. So as you're considering if you should make a transition, I have them right here. The number one, in my opinion, is going to be affordability, the cost of housing on where you live. Guys, I have a video, I'll link it right here, on homes around $200,000, and you can take a look at that. So that's a really cool video. And then I have a bunch of other new construction videos there as well for a brand new home that you could live in here in the Midwest. But if you're looking to consider moving, guys, it's not just affordability, but what is the quality of life going to be for your family? That's where the cost of living really comes in. Are you going to have to work 60, 70 hours a week just to afford a home where you want to live? Or could you work half of that and still get the home that you would want? Because when you look at employment rates and you look at wages in the Midwest compared to the East and West Coast, they're not that much different. What I would encourage you to do is to head over to Zillow or get a mortgage calculator or an affordability calculator and start running numbers. You can see these numbers right here. All you have to do is put in your income, put in your monthly debts and what you would be able to do for a down payment, and it will tell you approximately what you could afford. This is a rough, quick estimate to give you an idea of what you could afford, and then you can go and look at some of the homes in that particular area or region and see what you can actually afford. That's going to be the best way for you to start out to see and consider, is moving to the Midwest the best thing for you and your family that may give you a better quality of life. So again, guys, if you're considering Omaha, Nebraska, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find a bunch of my resources down in the description. I'll link some here as well. Guys, I appreciate you all watching. Thank you for spending your time with me. Love you all, and we'll see you in the next video.